all the time.
We did the same.
Or do we?
Oh,
No, we received the chief executive report, but you're saying that we've given us. Oh, I didn't see. Yeah, I see. It's not you, not you.
We-
I didn't realise we received.
No, we haven't voted.
But you received it. We received it, but we haven't got the motion.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so, we'll, thank you, welcome Gary, welcome Stephen. So as this is part of this new report, we'll hand over to Stephen to give us the update, and at the end of that, we've received the report, but we haven't passed the motion. So once Stephen's finished, we'll pass the motion, then we'll hand it over to Gary. So Stephen, over to you.
Thanks, councillors, and it was great to from what Kotahi today was using. So, you know, key things for me are you can see, I hope that transport network and its future resilience is a core part of the recovery effort. And you don't have a funding column in the recovery plan that we've provided to you, and that's because we are still in the process, and it will take another couple of months for this process to flow. That's about how big a share of that 6 billion we can lock up TCDC. So recovery and that force planning and thinking about a bigger marketplace for our contractors who are based in this area. All of those things are part of what will move into new BAU for the council in being a more active partner in trying to get the work done at the kind of pace that you would want to see. And it's quite challenging thinking about that program and it being over 10 to 15 years. Gee, that seems like doesn't that seem slow? How can we make it go faster? Well, the way we make it go faster is to focus on priorities, and then to grow the workforce capability to actually go and deliver it. And change the way the community thinks about that work taking place. So we probably will develop a little sweepstake at some point in the next couple of months and say, how well do you think we could do at securing this long-term commitment from Kotahi to not just rebuild and repair, but to make it resilient. They are genuine in their praise and recognition and acknowledgement of the shoreline management pathway, that work that's been done. They used a lot of that thinking and coming up with their risk-based program, and that, you know, I think that all goes well. You're sitting on a partway through a Section 17A review of how is the transport activity delivered in this council. Then I think you've been shown an opportunity if you work in a closer partnership with Waka Kotahi, the opportunity to turn things from just sort of coordination and cooperation into a proper collaboration that really does speed up quality and pace of delivery. Is where I think we want to aim. So that's kind of where we're going. So recovery plan, we've made it public because it's good that we do that. We've invited feedback from all of our partner agencies that have a role to play in either leading or supporting the delivery of recovery actions, and we're going to keep that as a living document until we get to the funding confirmation stage with the cyclone recovery unit. And then we can add that column back into the plan to show that where appropriate, Waka Kotahi and TCDC and other agencies are doing, but coming to the party, and there is the leading partnering with us on those initiatives. The feedback that we have about the plan is that people, they say, look, it's kind of looks fit for purpose, we like it, we can understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying to focus on. And we like your help not to really get too much bigger than it is. And so a good rule of thumb here is to say, if we want to add stuff into the recovery plan, the obligation is to try and find something to put out so that we actually contain the size of the monster that we're grappling with, because there's a lot. And there's a lot to do, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the staff. I'm sure Aileen might have already mentioned that the taxpayer and union survey of staff per head of population, TCDC's right up there in terms of being pretty lean. And you applied that in a lot of what you do. So I think that probably enough for me, and then we can take questions.
I've got a question. You talk about the monster and how to control it. Again, really worried about the amount of contractors to actually execute it. So I know Bruce has talked about it, and then, but is there confidence around that? Do we think we've got enough? Because I struggle to think if we got the machinery and people out there and supply chain to make this happen.
So is it today? We haven't.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Kotahi is saying. Think of this over a 10 to 15 year period. If you think about all the main suppliers of the transport network project, or set of improvements, and all of the sub trades and suppliers that have to deliver that bucket of businesses is probably not as big as it needs to be. And that when you think about that, 1.3 billion over 10 to 15 years ago, that seems a lot. It will take some years to build up the marketplace capacity to actually support that. What you really want is a bipartisan, politically neutral kind of reaction to what we're trying to do, which is whoever's in government will back this, because it's been thought through really well, and it's the way to do it. It's the right way to do it.
So if you worry about those big contractors leaving the rather bigger business somewhere else, if we can keep them as long as possible, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think Waka Kotahi have probably got to a point where they feel that tier one have on their own gathered enough of the marketplace in New Zealand.
Right.
And that there's a lot of room in tier 2 and 3 to grow those contractors to be bigger and better, but not tier 1, because the overheads for those size of businesses is lower. That's where they're going.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephen. I'll just, we are back in the session, so I'll just ask members to direct questions through the chair, please. Just so that we are behind time, so we'll just keep it on track. Robin, you had a question?
Thank you. In the framework for recovery, it's a huge document. Goodness, there's quite a few agencies involved in the end column. If you go into those agencies and saying, this is our plan recovery for you. But the reason I ask is I sit in the Hauraki Alliance at Ōtapai, and they've been asking for this document. I said they mentioned it, so I wondered if you'd already signaled that to them, but that's all.
They should be aware that it's coming,
Yep.
or that it's nearly available.
Yep.
We have done the agencies, and agencies based locally and within the district, but we have also had some online sessions with central agency folk in Wellington, and they have had 2 rounds of opportunity to feedback on.
Any other questions? Stephen? Okay, thank you, Stephen. That's fantastic. So what we'll do now is we'll put the motion. We have a move and a second to receive the chief executive report, which includes Stephen's. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Appreciate that. Maybe Stephen, you can just hang in there if you don't mind while we hand over to Gary, just in case there's anything pops up as part of that. Thanks. You okay with that?
Yeah, no, I need to speak on the side, so he's not. This is the comprehensive report on the performing regions management unit. I have is read. This is a combined report. We've used pretty much every department and council has contributed to this report. So just to quickly go through, if we go through the summary of the impacts, I've just highlighted what actually happened. Down in here is an important part that I'd like to bring to the elected members' attention is regarding the staffing. And I think as time has gone on, we underestimated perhaps the toll that it took on our staff. And we're talking possibly 60 staff, which is a high percentage of the business. They left the emergency management function and moved into the BAU, which we got behind. And a lot of them have not had time to recover. So I'm just putting that out there is that we are cognizant of that more now than we were at the start. So it's just something we need to be aware of in terms of workload. So just going through the report, we highlight here some of the surveys that we have undertaken, and there's some more to come. What it has highlighted is that we have made some mistakes. We've made some very good mistakes. From that, we've had a lot of learnings. So we did some good stuff, but we've learned from what didn't go well, and we've documented that. There's a comprehensive report coming from consultants who have been engaged by the CDM group. These are covering pretty much every response throughout the country at the time, so they're quite hardwired, and we're expecting them to come through any day soon. So once again, it'll be what's it all, and there'll be some good and some bad. But overall, I think from the feedback we have got, we got through it. We were successful. It's always hard dealing with a lot of people in a crisis. But just going down to the climate on the following page for the discussion, just bring to your attention now that we're now at 4.7 metres of rain so far this year. So we've more than doubled our annual rainfall. So it's not stopping anytime soon. You know, since I produced this report for RE, we probably had another 300 or more. So it's just by the end of the year, I think it'll be quite interesting that you take 2 steps forward like we did a couple of weeks ago, and you take a step back. So when we get hit now with a storm like 2 weeks ago, when we had that 2-day storm, it was just 230 mils of rain, but it resulted in 6 slips. And some of them were brand new, and we had 5 road closures. And it was just a BAU event. So it's just showing the impacts are not going away anytime soon. Flicking over, this is just something that's quite important to us, and it's regarding the placarded houses. We have 40 placarded houses, 43 placarded houses still, and our peak abating. These are people that are affected, and so this list is not going down at all. And at times, it's going up when it should be coming down. So this part of the workload that we are dealing with is regarding designations and the authority of this council to manage those placarded houses and the welfare of those people. And today I signed off on another 90 days of having that delegation available to us. And we may well, once I talk to Brian, we may well continue it on. So it's a serious way of business, and I've highlighted it through the report that there are, under the Building Act, some serious things we have to do, because if it goes wrong, we could find ourselves in litigation.
Yeah, are you okay to take a question, Lizzie?
Through the chair, or can we take them at the end?
I prefer at the end.
Yeah. So just go through to the recovery. So following on from what Pokahi and Stephen have said, the DPMC, the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, set up the Cyclone Recovery Unit. this is now fully operational and we have weekly meetings with this group online. Sometimes productive, sometimes a little bit clunky, but it's a good way of us getting our message down to Wellington on a weekly basis. We also have an internal workforce made up of GMs and CE that we meet weekly. And once again, we're going to a functional operational side of recovery, and it's led by Stephen as to what we have done last week, what we're doing this week. And it's just a manageable light meeting. On top of that, we have a wider recovery forum, which is going very, very well. And like the Doc, Health, and all the other partners that are in recovery. And it's quite amazing what their recovery process is, as well as ours, health in particular. It's just absolutely frightening that they have to bring their staff to teams for 4 or 5 nights to ensure that they can get through their shift and not get roadblocked out or roadblocked in. So the cost on that alone and the impact on those professionals' families is quite high. So this is a very good format, and I was talking to Jess just a little while ago. They'll be joining us in this next one to go through it, and which is good because we'll be able to update them on the network. We have a number of impromptu meetings with the ministry. We get a phone call and we get 3 or 4 hours to put something together. And these happen pretty much on a weekly basis. We had one yesterday, which resulted in, which was with the MFE, and they are looking at solid waste and transfer stations in particular. In the, what fund are we looking at? It's the Provincial Growth Fund. So what they're doing is identifying pockets of money that are not expended, and they're coming to us and saying very quickly, can you tell me, and this is a business case we can look at. So it's once again, it takes us away from our VAU, and it's very intensive work, but it's how government operates. If you ever work with government, that's exactly what they do. Okay, so going on to the funding, we've been quite successful in this, what we call middle level funding. And as at the 17th of July, we had $1.117 million allocated to the mayoral fund. And we've added to that. We were successful, I understand today, another 80,000 has gone on the ministry. I'm just trying to think whether it'll be MSD has come through for the social navigators. So we are getting little pockets of money coming in and out. And thank you to the panel, Councillor Rico. 184,000 was allocated to the resilience project, which is where we're going to beef up the on-ground resilience of every community in the Coromandel, starting with our 10 most vulnerable, and we're just going to roll this out over the next. So we've got a couple of 100,000 there to roll out these really cool kits, in which we'll go to a fire station or police station or surf club or somewhere where they can be accessed easily, and a community with a Starlink with generators and barbecues and so forth can look after themselves a little bit better than they probably. And just going, heading now into the economic, they call on the auditor and to this, as you'll see from the graphs that have already been published, it's just to highlight the impact that the events have had on the economy, and it all links back to the fact that if we've got roads, we've got an economy. We haven't got roads, we haven't got good. So it's taken a massive bit. It's possibly, I understand, one of the worst in the country in terms of. It'd be safe to say that in good times, we're probably number 1 or number 2 in the country. A lot of work to do in that space. The resilience project I just spoke about briefly. And possibly just heading off now to the back, going forward, we're about heading into our summer planning, and we have to look over our shoulders back at the company, because what lies ahead of us is a possibility that we may go into a drought. So you go from one extreme to the other. What we need to understand is a whole lot of people didn't get a holiday last year, a lot of stresses in the community, right across the board from most rich retiree to the person who's got nothing. Everyone's quite stressed, so we're just mindful of that, and I think we need to be factored all this into the recovery plan because it may have an impact. And also, what is seriously dry conditions due to the fragility of our roading network, so make it less or better, we don't know. So a lot of work to go there. So I'll take questions down.
So,
Just make a back and just pull it, questions, that sounded like there's lots of money washing around the system. There kind of is, but it's very strictly managed by funding documents that sit above it. So it's not like we've got a whole bunch of discretionary money. So what I think I've explained before, what happens is there's all of these funding opportunities and you have a crack at each of them, and some of them land and you never quite know which one's going to land. And when it does, it's constrained by whatever the thing was that you applied for. So please don't feel like there's a whole bunch of discretionary money floating around in there.
We do have to report on that as well.
please don't ask me how much is in the fund because I don't know most of the time. We'll go to Martin and then you, Peter, if that's all
Yeah, so the first question I had around the placarded houses, are you happy with the level of contact with people in those houses and support that they get? And I understand a lot of it is with EQC and insurance companies and that, but we've got our new social navigators who I think looking into some of those properties. But if from your point of view, you feel that people are being kept regularly informed about or having contact made with them?
Yes. That's a yes. The social navigators are working very hard. They're contacting each and every one of those people on a regular basis.
Yep.
And the things we can't do, like get involved in insurance stuff, but we are helping them. So the answer is yes.
Okay, and just one other quick question. So there was the, what we did well and what we can look at to improve. We did have a comment around one of the retirement villages here, not one that has an on-site manager, but they felt a little isolated at various points in the event. And I know, people say, well, it's a Bupa village, so Bupa should be looking after them, but I don't know where they fit as far as the community response plan. So that's just something to go in your direction.
So team, I will come to your questions in a second. I'm just mindful of time. At 3 o'clock, we're going to have to pass a resolution to extend, and we've still got a bit to get through. So I'm going to ask you to keep your questions quite succinct and get through this if we can, please. So Peter and Terry.
We've received 1.118 million and we've allocated 437.
That's just one. That's just one. I think Don possibly speak to them.
Sorry,
Oh, we've received 1.118 million to the grants and donations, and 437,000 has been distributed to a broad cross section of many communities, which implies to me there's 700 grand floating around somewhere.
I think it's go on to say that we've also allocated monies, some remaining monies has been allocated to because a community Waikato initiative for community groups to apply to. So there was an amount of money, I think about 300,000.
Yeah, this next period.
There was another 50,000 put aside for for events like recovery events. We're off the top of my head, there was
So it's all spoken for.
spoken for at the moment, it's set for about, probably not.
Enough said. It's all spoken.
It's all here, all broken down here.
Thank you. Terry?
Mine was just a quick run around those 43 placard houses. Are we supporting any with accommodation or anything? Or are we just all separate from the discussion?
7.
7 we are.
7. Okay. A lot of those are what we call under test, the temporary accommodation service.
Yeah.
Government supported here in Steve.
Okay.
So we're very fortunate. We have a seat now, all our meeting, which is occupied by a very, very senior staff member of the state. Who punches quite a few holes for us. So we're
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you, Gary. Unless there's any further questions, I'll put the motion. Am I going to move in a second? No, okay. So move in a second, please, Rebecca and Gary. Motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Stephen.
So we're now going to, can I get a mover in a second?
Yeah.
To move into public school. And second, there's a movement of John, thank you.
He also said he was. 180, I can't say which is because. Committees. Read that after he wrote the paper. Oh, yeah. Oh, do you need